So let me ask you a question. When it comes to your business, are you flying completely blind? Or are you maybe drowning in data? It's a problem every single one of us solo entrepreneurs faces. Well, today, we're going to build a simple but really powerful monitoring system. And we're going to learn how from a pretty unlikely source, Google's elite engineering teams. Let's get into it. This right here, this single idea from Google's site reliability teams is the key to everything. Just think about it for a second. If a number on your dashboard doesn't tell you to do something specific, right now, it's just noise. And all that noise leads to this condition they call alert fatigue, which honestly is just as dangerous as not tracking anything at all. You know, we're all guilty of this. We chase these vanity metrics. That huge spike in likes feels amazing, right? But does it actually tell you if your business is healthy? Does it pay the bills? Most of the time, it's just a distraction. Or maybe you're at the complete opposite end of the spectrum, tracking dozens and dozens of metrics. You've got these complex dashboards, all these charts and spreadsheets. But be honest, when was the last time one of those numbers actually made you change what you were doing? The hard truth is, if we're tracking everything, we're really tracking nothing. Okay, so here's our game plan for today. We're going to start with this core problem, which I like to call the monitoring paradox. Then we're going to borrow Google's secret weapon, the 4 golden signals, and translate it for us solo builders. From there, we'll build a personal monitoring system, boil it all down to a super simple 5-metric dashboard, and then finish up with 3 questions to put this all into action immediately. So this is the trap that most of us fall right into. We either track absolutely nothing and have no idea when something's about to break, or we track everything and get so completely overwhelmed by the data that we can't see the one signal that actually matters. You see the problem? Both paths lead to the exact same place, making bad decisions just for very different reasons. And there's an official term for this: alert fatigue. It's a real documented phenomenon where just a constant overload of notifications makes you just tune them out. Now, for a solo builder, this isn't about pagers going off at 3 a.m. No, it's about ignoring that sinking feeling in your revenue chart because you're too busy worrying about your Twitter impressions. So, how do we fix this? Well, the solution actually comes from the very place that defined the problem in the first place. See, Google's site reliability engineering teams needed a way to monitor the health of the world's most complex systems without drowning in data. And their answer was this beautifully simple framework. They call them the 4 golden signals: latency, traffic, errors, and saturation. And they argue that if you can only measure 4 things about your system, these are the 4 that matter. These 4 things give you a complete high-level view of your system's health at any given moment. Now, here's what's really cool about this. It's how perfectly these concepts translate from these massive server farms to a one-person business. We just need to change the vocabulary a little bit. So let's go ahead and translate each of these golden signals into terms that actually make sense for us. First up, we have latency. For Google, it's how long a server takes to respond. For you, it's a measure of speed. How long does it take you to answer a support ticket, to ship a product, to publish your next newsletter? See, rising latency is the first and best leading indicator that your system is under strain. Remember this: before things break, they slow down. Next up is traffic. This is basically the demand being placed on your system. For a web service, that's requests per second. For your business, it's the flow of new interest. Think new email subscribers, new customers, or views on your latest content. It tells you if that inbound pipeline is healthy. Third, we've got errors. These are the requests that fail. For Google, that's an explicit server error. For you, it's a refund request, a customer complaint, or a failed payment. But here's the crucial point. A rising error rate almost always points to an underlying problem with your product, your process, or maybe your communication. And finally, saturation. Oh, this one is brilliant. It measures how full your system is. For a server, that's its CPU usage. For you, it's your personal capacity. Are you consistently using, say, 90% of your available productive hours? If you are, your system is fragile. There's no buffer for emergencies or new opportunities. Saturation is your burnout metric. Okay, so now we have our 4 signals. Let's take them and build them into a practical monitoring system that you'll actually use. And it's built on 3 really simple parts: a map, a rhythm, and red flags. First up is the map. Don't just make a random list of metrics. You need to organize them into layers. So at the very top, you have revenue. Right below that, distribution. That's how you reach people. Then production, what you create. And at the very foundation, your system, your own capacity. This structure helps you see how a problem in one layer, like production, will eventually bubble up and affect your revenue. Second is the rhythm. Look, you don't need to check everything every single day. A quick daily check for any fires takes what, 2 minutes? A weekly review of your core health metrics, maybe 15 minutes. And a monthly deep dive on trends takes less than an hour. This schedule is what makes monitoring a sustainable habit, not some awful chore. And third, red flags. This is where we turn data into actual action. A threshold isn't just a number. It's a trigger that's linked to a specific response. So if your email open rate drops below 15%, the action is review list health and subject lines. This is how you create alerts that are truly actionable, just like that Google principle we started with. All right, now let's boil all of this down to its simplest, most powerful form, because the ultimate goal here is a minimalist dashboard that gives you a complete health check in just a few minutes each week. And it could look something just like this, just 5 numbers, updated once a week. Revenue tells you if you're making money. List size tells you if you're growing. Production rate tells you if you're keeping up. Open messages tell you if your customers are happy. And your content stock tells you if you have a buffer. You see? Together, these 5 metrics give you an incredible snapshot of your business's health. So, to wrap this all up, I want to leave you with 3 very direct questions, because this isn't just theory. This is about putting this framework into practice for your own business, starting right now. First one, how many metrics are you tracking right now? Now, be honest with yourself. Which one of them directly influenced a decision you made last month? If you can't name one, you're probably suffering from alert fatigue. Question number 2. If your revenue took a nosedive today, how long would it take for you to notice? A day? A week? Maybe not until the end of the month? Your answer to that question tells you a lot about the quality of your current monitoring system. And finally, number 3. What was the open rate on your last email campaign? If you don't know the number off the top of your head, are you really tracking it, or are you just collecting data? This simple question really gets to the heart of turning all that noise into a real actionable signal. Remember, the goal isn't more data, it's more signal. Build a system that is small, consistent, and meaningful, because that's what leads to action. Thanks so much for tuning in, and if this was helpful, please like, share, and follow for more explainers just like this one.